Subhadarshini, you have to explain today.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, proceed what we have discussed in the last class. Yeah, proceed, ma.
Last class is a monochromators classification, sample cells, cuvettes,
Okay.
classification, cylindrical and rectangular cuvettes.
What
Then,
about source of light?
yes, ma'am.
Source of light.
Yes, ma'am. Source of light also we saw, ma'am.
Okay.
It converts electrical energy into radiation energy.
Okay. What about monochromators? What are the types of monochromators?
Single beam and double beam.
Okay.
Under that, filters in single beam and prism and monochromatous double beam. Monochromatous diffraction gratings through the mechanism of diffraction gratings in
Okay.
monochromators.
Okay, ma'am. Good. So we'll discuss remaining parts today. As she said, we have discussed regarding instrumentation part of UV visible spectroscopy along with its working mechanism. We have seen in this flowchart we have discussed regarding classification and types of instrument, then source of light, then monochromators, then sample cells. These four parts we have discussed. Now we'll move on to detectors, next part. In sample cell itself, sample analysis, we need to discuss some more points, then we'll move on to the detectors, recorder and spectral studies. So you have seen what are the types of instruments, single beam and double beam. Then you have seen about source of light for both UV and visible. Then types of what are monochromators and types of monochromators. Then sample cells, different types of sample cells in UV and visible spectrophotometry. Then sample, what kind of sample is used for analysis and what is the concentration, what is the solvent you are preferring, everything we have discussed. And the principle of interaction, where the sample radiation, UV visible radiation, is interacted with chromophores, where absorption of photons occur in chromophoric system, that is in unsaturated system, where there will be, once the absorption of photons occur, it will be going for electronic transitions, that is sigma to sigma star, pi to pi star and n to pi star transitions from ground state to excited state. The electrons are moving and that gives the amount of radiation absorbed will give absorption spectrum. So we will study this mechanism through spectrum analysis. Now let's move on to what are chromophores and what is auxochrome and what are the types of bands we will get through UV visible spectroscopic analysis. So we'll discuss the terms like chromophores. This will be a 5-mark question, chromophore and auxochromes. So learn properly. Okay. So chromophores means, chromo means colors, color generating, force means generating compound. So color generating or imparting compounds are called as chromophores. Auxochromes will not absorb UV visible radiation. Instead, it will contribute to the chromophores for its absorption. So when auxochromic substance is attached with the chromophoric substance, it will be increasing a group. It is a group. Auxochrome will be having a group that is functional group. That we'll be discussing what is auxochrome. So when it is attached to chromophore, it will increase increase the absorption of chromophores. Okay, so these two terms are must to read under UV visible spectroscopy: chromophores and auxochromes. Chromophores and auxochromes. Already we have discussed that chromophores are unsaturated system in a compound or double bonded system in a compound. So they'll be having pi bond or pi electrons in it. So this pi electrons are responsible for UV visible radiation absorption. Okay, so UV visible absorption, all have joined. No, only 14 are there. Anybody will join? So UV visible absorption takes place in chromophore between 200 to 800 nanometer. What is the range of UV visible totally? 200 to 800 nanometer, where UV is 200 to 400 and visible is 400 to 800 nanometer. And this absorption is based on two groups present in the molecule. One is chromophores, another one is auxochromes. Chromophores are nothing but conjugated system to absorb electromagnetic radiation. What? What? I didn't get. Baby Kartika? What did you say? Anybody wants to join?
Ma'am, Jetlin and Deepan absent, ma'am.
Absent. Jetlin and Deepan. Okay. What about others? Only 14 are there.
Ma'am?
Okay, pa. Okay, baby Kartika. Jetlin and Deepan absent. Already they were absent only. What about others? Stefan, he is not there. Vimal is not there. Then Joy John is not joined. So what about them? If they join, just inform me. Okay, let's proceed with the class. So chromophores are nothing but conjugated system to absorb electromagnetic radiation. Conjugated system represents unsaturated or double bonded system present in the molecule, where auxochromes are nothing but electron donating groups. Electron donating groups to extend the conjugation. So when electron donating groups, they are called as auxochromes, when it is attached to conjugated system, double bonded system in chromophore, then they will extend the conjugation. That means conjugation nature of chromophore will be extended, so that the pi electron nature will be extended. So it requires only less energy for activation. That means to move from ground state to excited state, that particular pi electron requires less energy. Okay, that's what auxochromes contribution to chromophores. So what are chromophores? Chromophores are conjugated system present in the molecule, where auxochromes are electron donating groups. They will be electron donating groups that is present in the molecule. When it is attached directly to the chromophore, it will be having contribution to the chromophore. How? Means it will extend the conjugation. That means it donates its electron to the pi bond. So already pi bond is flexible bond always. It is very reactive bond. So if when electron is donated, it will be more flexible and it will absorb only less energy to move from ground state to excited state. If energy is required, less energy is required, then more wavelength of radiation will be utilized. So the absorption occurs towards visible range, where visible range is having higher wavelength with less energy radiation, whereas UV has more energy with less wavelength radiation. This about energy and wavelength, hope you understood the concept clearly. Already we have discussed, right? And the same you need to apply here regarding auxochrome and chromophoric actions and mechanism behind UV visible absorption. So which will absorb UV radiation? pi electrons. What are oxochromes? Electron donating groups. When electron donating groups are contributing its electrons to chromophores, it will become more flexible to absorb the radiation. So only it is becoming more reactive. That pi bond will be already it is reactive when it is attached with oxochromes, electron donating groups. Because of electrons density increasing around the chromophoric system, it is extending its conjugation so that it is becoming highly reactive. That makes that particular chromophore to absorb less amount of radiation. That means less energy of radiation. Only less energy is required. That means, for example, you are preparing for your exam means once you get concentration, you will be preparing very soon. But before and getting concentration, you will be making you to get into the subject only. Means you will be deviated from the subject for some time, then you will get into the subject to get concentration in the topic whichever you are studying. Once you get more concentration, you will be learning within few seconds, right? Likewise, if chromophores will be having the capability of absorbing, then also when it is present with oxochromes, it will be readily absorbing and it requires only less energy. Okay. And likewise, those who are concentrating in the class, they can easily give answer. But those who are just physically present for the class, they may not answer because they are not active. So we need to give some like oxochromes like substances to them, so that only means we have to give some extra stress, like asking questions and all. Then only they will awake. They will say the answers. Likewise, chromophores are like they are able to absorb UV radiation. That radiation is extended with oxochromes. So what are oxochromes? Electron donating groups. They are like supporting groups for chromophores to extend its conjugation. Okay, so these are all the two groups responsible for UV visible radiation absorption. Okay, let's see about types of chromophores. There are two kinds of chromophores are there: dependent chromophores and independent chromophores. Dependent chromophores. What are dependent chromophores? Means they will be of double bonded in nature. Ethylene, acetylene compounds like ethylene, acetylene are called as dependent chromophores. They will be made with the pi bonds. So transition occurs with pi to pi star. That means it is of it means the compound will be having chemical structure with double bond only. Where independent chromophores are azo and nitroso groups. Azo and nitroso means it will be nitrogen group will be having lone pair of electrons in it, that is n electrons, non-bonding electrons. So that type of groups are called independent chromophores. Independent chromophores. Dependent chromophores means they will be depending on oxochromes, where independent chromophores will be of independent, they will not depend on any other group for its absorption. Okay, so it will be contributing with both pi electrons and non-bonding electrons. So the transition occurs from ground state, pi electron from ground state to pi star excited state, and n electrons from ground state they are converted to pi star, that is excited state of n. It is not given as n star, it is pi star. When it is going to excited state, it is going up to the level of pi electrons only, n electrons. So these are called as independent chromophores. So what are the two electrons will absorb radiation? Pi electrons and n electrons. What is the transition to excited state? Pi star. Pi star represents only excited state of pi electrons and n electrons. What are dependent chromophores? Ethylene and acetylene. Where independent chromophores are azo and nitroso compounds. Okay. Then what are all the bands when dependent chromophores absorbs radiation? When the transition occurs from ground state to excited state, what type of bands we will be getting? Since it is having double bond only, it will be producing two kinds of bands. One is called as B band or benzenoid band. B represents benzenoid. Another one is E band, ethylenic band. Okay, benzene represents aromatic group. So presence of aromatic and heteroaromatic group will be giving absorption at UV range and called as dependent chromophores. So dependent chromophores when give bands, they will be known as either B band or E band. E band represents aliphatic group, ethylenic group, where B band represents aromatic group, benzenoid group. So the band appears through that group is called benzenoid band, where the band represents the signal or peak. And, that is formed by ethylenic group is known as E band. Then coming to independent chromophores. When it is giving n electrons and pi electrons, both the electrons, when it's going for absorption and moving from ground state to excited state, what are the kinds of bands we'll get? Means K band and R band. K represents conjugate band. It is due to conjugate group, alternative double bonds present in the compound. Then R band represents radical band. Radical represents the non-bonding electrons present over the nitrogen group, or azo group, oxygen and nitrogen groups, whatever radical means the lone pair of electrons present on that, that represents n electrons. When n electrons absorbs radiation and it moves from ground state to excited state, the band formed is called as radical band. So K band and R band are formed by independent chromophores, where dependent chromophores give B and E band. So there are 4 kinds of bands will be obtained through chromophoric substance of both dependent and independent chromophores. Okay, understood, no? So what are chromophores? Conjugated system to absorb electromagnetic radiation, and this conjugated system will be having pi electrons and n electrons. Pi electrons only are called as dependent chromophores. Example, ethylene and acetylene, where pi and n electron composed groups are called as independent chromophores. Example, azo and nitroso groups. Then the bands appeared by dependent chromophores are B band and E band. B band is due to aromatic or heteroaromatic group, where E band is due to ethylenic group. And independent chromophores will give K and R band. K band is known as conjugate band, and R band is represented as radical band. Okay, now let's see about what are auxochromes. Auxochromes are electron donating groups to extend the conjugation. This is of 2 types, acidic and basic auxochromes. Acidic of OH group, OR, R will be substituted with any alkyl group. Okay, so methoxy group. Then NHR, amino groups. So this will be of acidic in nature. Then basic groups are nitric oxide, carbon monoxide and cyanide groups. These all will be basic groups of auxochromes that will extend the conjugation when it is attached with the chromophores, that is to the double bonded group. If for example C double bond C you take, that is chromophore, double bonded system. If to that carbon group, if any of this acidic and basic auxochromes like OH is attached to that carbon, like ethanol or ethanol, if it is attached to that chromophore, then O will be always having lone pair of electrons, right? The heteroatoms will be carrying lone pair of electrons in it. That lone pair of electron is donated to the pi bond in which it is attached in the group which is attached, so that the pi bond nature will be increased. Then the pi bond becomes more flexible to absorb UV visible radiation. That's what auxochrome's contribution in chromophore. Clear, no? This concept, what are auxochromes and what are chromophores. Now let's see about solvent effects. What kind of solvents we are choosing, as we have discussed earlier. What kind of solvents? Polar solvents. That too, seeing the cutoff wavelength, we need to select what type of solvent is opted for or fit for that analysis. So we need to choose based on the cutoff wavelength. Cutoff wavelength is nothing but the lambda max, maximum absorbance at particular wavelength for solvent. Okay. Based on that, we need to choose the common solvents like water, methanol or ethanol and etc. Any other solvents like DMSO, other solvents also can be chosen to dissolve your sample and dilute the sample. So what are the mechanism of solvent for absorption? How it affects the absorption, we'll see. Based on polarity only we are choosing, right? More polar solvents we will be always preferring. When less polar solvents, how it interacts means it will be interacting. solvents always will be forming hydrogen bonding with the molecule. It may form intermolecular hydrogen bonding with the compound, right? When it forms a hydrogen bonding, what happens? The electrons are getting, here you can see more stabilization. This lone pair of electron containing groups will form hydrogen bonding with the polar solvent. When it forms another bond, what happens? This double bonded nature will be reduced, conjugation will be reduced, the bond become more strengthier, so it requires higher energy. That's what n electrons will be going to only pi star level, means from ground state to excited state. It cannot go higher energy than pi electrons where it goes. Okay, so that n electrons will be going to pi star state only, from ground state to excited state, since due to stabilization of this group with hydrogen bonding, intermolecular hydrogen bonding with the polar solvents. Where pi electrons, what it does, it becomes more polar, so that it is highly reactive, and it is going to pi star level. Pi electrons and n electrons are going to the same excitation level. That's why n electrons are said as, in excited state, it will be existing as pi electrons. Okay. So this is what, since electron deficient group occurs since the formation of hydrogen bonding for n electrons, where pi electrons will not go for any hydrogen bonding, it directly goes from ground state to excited state. So this is what solvents affect your electrons by forming hydrogen bonding, where pi electrons will not form hydrogen bonding with this, where lone pair of electrons present in the heteroatom will form intermolecular hydrogen bonding. When it forms intermolecular hydrogen bonding, what actual processes, the electrons present in the heteroatom will be donated to the double bond. Double bond is what? Chromophore. It has to be donated to the bond. When the electron density around this pi bond is high, it will be more flexible, and it will be converted to, means it will require only less energy radiation. Where when it forms hydrogen bonding, this electrons, instead of contributing to the double bond, it will be contributed for hydrogen bonding formation. So the lack of electrons occurs where the double bond becomes more strengthier bond. It becomes more strengthier. That is what here said as more stabilization occurs. Thereby it requires somewhat high energy to move from ground state to excited state. That's why it is moving only to pi star level. Even n electrons has higher highly reactive than pi electrons. They are moving to only pi star level, since due to electrons contribution to hydrogen bond formation, intermolecular hydrogen bonding formation. So this is how solvents through hydrogen bonding will affect the molecular absorption. And next we'll see about shifts. Types of shifts occurs in UV visible absorbance. You take the example of spectrum. In the y-axis, we'll be always taking absorbance. Absorbance has no unit. It is just represented with A here. And the x-axis, we'll be taking wavelength, that is lambda. What is the unit of wavelength? Nanometer. So you will be getting spectrum like a bell-shaped curve. It is a symmetric curve we'll be getting, where you can find for the compound actual lambda max, this maximum absorbance or peak maxima for this peak is called as lambda max. You can observe here lambda max, maximum absorbance for a compound at particular wavelength. In the y-axis, maximum absorbance. In x-axis, what is the wavelength it gives maximum absorbance is called as lambda max. And lambda max will be varying for each and every compound, so that this lambda max is considered as qualitative parameter for any compound. Okay. And how the shift occurs means there are 4 kinds of shift occurs from the lambda max. One is called red shift, another one is called blue shift, hyperchromic and hypochromic shift. Red shift represents the shift of lambda max occurs towards 800 nanometer. You can say from 200 to 800 nanometer wavelength range we are plotting here, since that is the UV visible range. So towards 800 nanometer, if the lambda max is shifted, then the shift is called red shift. Okay, redshift represents, if you take the color bands with rainbow colors, if you take from violet to red, it will be red will be of longer wavelength radiation. So the when shift occurs towards longer wavelength is 800 nanometer, wavelength is high there. So that type of shift is called red shift. Longer wavelength shift or shift towards longer wavelength is called as red shift, or it is otherwise called as bathochromic shift. Bathochromic, BATHO. Wait, I'll be giving in the chat box. Bathochromic shift. Bathochromic shift is known as red shift. And blue shift is nothing but shift towards lower wavelength. Wavelength here is low. It is towards 200 nanometer. When the shift occurs towards higher energy or lower wavelength, then the shift is called blue shift. Blue color radiations will be having higher energy than red radiation. They will be having longer wavelength. This will be having lower wavelength. Okay, and this shift is otherwise known as hypsochromic shift. Hypsochromic shift. Okay, blue shift is otherwise known as hypsochromic shift. And what is hyperchromic is when the intensity of radiation is high, intensity, concentration, when it is increased, the shift will be occurs towards hyperchromic. Hypochromic means less intensity. If the intensity of radiation is reduced, then it will be a hypochromic shift. So these are all the types of shifts occurs in UV visible absorption spectrum, and absorption also altered. Okay, so say when it will be converted to red shift, when the lambda max for a compound, this lambda max merely due to what? A chromophoric system present in the compound. So when you can shift this lambda max towards red shift and towards blue shift. These two shifts are based on concentration. When concentration is high, it will be shifted towards hyperchromic. When concentration is less, it will be shifted towards hyperchromic. But there is no lambda max change occurs in hyper and hyperchromic shift. Where in red and blue shift, there will be lambda max wavelength shift occurs. When longer wavelength shift will be there, when the chromophoric carbon is attached with the oxochromes, as we discussed here, when it is attached with oxochromes, electron donating groups, what happens? The electron donating groups will extend the conjugation, and that require only less energy radiation for its absorption, for the molecular absorption. So when energy of radiation reduced, wavelength, what it will be become? It will be converted to a longer wavelength, so that lambda max will be shifted towards red shift or bathochromic shift. It is due to the presence of oxochromes. That means it will donate electron to the conjugated group, that is double bonded system, so that the double bond will become more extended, and that requires only less energy of radiation for its absorption. So less energy radiation represents what? Longer wavelength, that is towards 800 nanometers. So the lambda max will be shifted towards 800 nanometer, that is towards longer wavelength. So that is called red shift or bathochromic shift. So when it will become blue shift, if we reduce in the compound double bonded nature, or if you remove any chromophoric carbon, or if you remove any oxochrome group, oxochromic system in the molecule, then the molecule will be requiring higher energy radiation for its absorption. In that case, lambda max will be shifted towards lower wavelength, blue shift. Okay, so this is how the shift occurs from lambda max. So what are the four shifts? Hyperchromic, hypochromic, blue shift, red shift. taking the wavelength in x-axis and absorbance in y-axis. This is how the appearance of spectrum will be there, like a bell-shaped symmetric curve, like a Gaussian distribution curve will be getting through UV visible analysis. Now let's move on to the next part, detectors. So in the sample, what are all the things we have discussed? Sample cells, then the types of samples analyzed, concentration of sample analyzed, the mechanism behind the sample absorption, and then means that is defined by chromophores, auxochromes, and types of bands responsible for UV visible absorption, then solvent effects, shifts. These are all we have discussed under sample types of samples, okay, in UV visible spectroscopy. Next, we'll move on to the detectors part. So what are the parts of instruments we have discussed? Source of light, monochromators, sample cell, and now fourth part is detector. What is the role of detector? It will detect whatever radiation is absorbed. So the main mechanism of detector is it converts radiation energy to electrical energy. Radiation to electrical energy. It receives radiation. From where radiation comes? From the source, it is passed to monochromator. Then from the monochromator, it is passed on to the sample. Then after absorption, the remaining radiation will be sent to the detector. So now detector will receive what energy? Radiation energy. And the role of detector is it will be converting radiation energy to electrical energy. That means radiation in the form of photons, it will be converted to electrical energy in the form of electrons. That's why there will be conversion from photon to electron occurs. Okay. So what are all the types of detectors? Means there are 4 kinds of detectors you can find for UV visible spectrophotometric analysis. One is barrier layer cell or photovoltaic cell. Barrier layer cell or photovoltaic cell. So each detector, you can find that it will be having electrodes, cathode and anode. Negative and positive electrode. Negative electrode will be cathode, where positive electrode will be anode. Likewise, you can see all the types of detectors will be having anodes and cathodes. Their arrangements and the facility to detect the radiation will be varying, and the material used in that based on cost of instrument and the detectors also, and the material made for cathode and anode will be varying. In the low cost instruments, you can find low cost detectors, and the materials also will be very cheap. In the high sophisticated instruments or expensive instruments, you can find that the detectors will be made with high quality material, and the detection sensitivity also will be increased. So based on that only, it is divided into 4 types. One is a barrier layer cell or photovoltaic cell. Another one is phototubes. Then in the higher category, if you see in the sophisticated instruments, you could find photo multiplier tubes, PMT, or photodiode arrays, PDA detectors will be used. So in filter type of instruments like a normal colorimeter and all, you will be finding the detectors either phototubes or photovoltaic cells. Photovoltaic cells are otherwise called as barrier layer cells. You can find the thin layer of gold or silver is made. Okay. So it will be having glass plates, selenium, iron and copper for the reflection of radiations. Then plastic case, it will be placed. When the radiation is strike onto the detector, it will be striking. What common mechanism will occur in the detector means which electrode will receive the radiation among cathode and anode means cathode will receive the photons from the sample, that is radiation energy received by the cathode. When it strikes on the cathode will be emitting equal amount of electrons. So photons, when it strikes on the cathode, it will get ionized and it will be emitting equal number of electrons, that is negatively charged ions at cathodic condition. What happens when electrons are released? They are of negatively charged, so they will be moving through positive electrode, that is the anode. When the electrons are passed, what will happen in the electric circuit? It will be giving the means extra signal, it will be passed. That means direct current will be converted to alternating current. DC will be converted to AC when it is passed, when the electric current is passed because of sample. Okay, so before applying sample radiation or before passing sample radiation to the detector, the current or electric circuit, electric current passed between the circuit is direct current. Okay, when it is absorbing the sample, when the radiation from the sample is passed to the detector, it will be receiving extra signal, right? So that it becomes alternating current, and that current will be recorded in the recorder as a spectrum. Okay, that will be equal to the concentration of sample present in the sample cell. What you have taken in the cuvette, 3.5 ml of sample, how much amount it has been absorbed from the source is represented. Okay, so this is what the mechanism behind detectors, where cathode will receive radiation energy and it gives equal amount of electrons, and these electrons will be absorbed or moved towards anode. This causes passage of electric current, and during that passage direct current will be converted to alternating current, and that current will be recorded as signal or spectrum in the recorder. So various types of detectors in this photovoltaic cell and photo tubes, and here also you can find anode, photons. So photons are going to cathode, towards cathode, and at the cathode it will become ionized and it will be moving on to the anode, thereby the supply passes. And photo multiplier tubes, this will be found, photo multiplier tubes you can find in double beam UV visible spectrophotometers. In spectrophotometers, these two you can find in filter spectrometers, filter type of spectrometers, where this will also be having cathode. This blue color represents here cathode, and it has a multiple number of anodes. This type of anodes are called as dinodes. Dynode spelling I'll put in chat box. Dinodes. So what are dinodes means? They will be having multiple number of anodes, and these dinodes will be oppositely arranged in a tube. In the inside a circular tube, you can find a multiple number of anodes. What this anodes will do means, when the radiation is passed on to the cathode, what it does? It emits the electrons. When the electron of single electron, when it strikes on the first cathode, it will reflect onto the next cathode, which is oppositely arranged. Where when it strikes onto the next anode, it becomes multiplied. So the signal becomes twice. Likewise, twice the numbers, it will be multiplied, so on. And at the final electrode or anode, you will get multiple completely multiplied signal. So from the sample, what is the advantage of this mechanism means, if you get very weak signal from your sample also, that can be multiplied and analyzed by the detector. So the detector will not leave any signal, even minute signal also, that is coming from the sample. So the accuracy will be increased. 100 times it will be increased than the normal detectors, photovoltaic cells and photo tubes. Comparing that, the sensitivity of photo multiplier tubes will be that many times increased. 100 times it will be increased. You can observe the bands, how it is increasing or multiplying. So the multiplied signal will be converted, and this signal will be detected by the detector, and it will be recorded as a spectrum. So you will get exact change of absorbance or lambda max in the sample. The increased sensitivity only the advantage here. How the sensitivity is increased? Since we are using dinodes, multiple number of anodes. What is the role of multiple number of anodes? They are multiplying the weak signal to strong signal, multiplying twice and twice and twice, so that it will be multiplied 100 than detectors. Okay, where photodiode arrays also functions like the same, and it will be giving the signal from 200 to 800 nanometer. All the signals whichever is coming, it will be multiplied through gratings. Here, like grating monochromators, it will be multiplied from the source whatever we receive. It is going to the grating detector. You can see from source it is going to the sample, and after from the sample the radiation is passed on to the grating, where it is multiplied into many signals and it is detected. So that is called diode arrays, photodiode array. This is the diode array where the signal is multiplied. So these two are increasing the sensitivity of analysis. So accuracy of your answers or absorbance for the sample will be high here. So in sophisticated instruments, what type of detectors will be finding? Photo multiplier tubes and photodiode arrays. Diode arrays. Diode represents anode only. Many types of anodes in the form of to give array means how we will say multiple number of signals reflected rays. So that is called photodiode arrays. These are photo multiplier tubes. Inside the tube, the photons are multiplied into many signals by anodes as electrons. So this is the main concept of detector. Common concept will be detector's role is converting radiation energy to electrical energy. Where radiation energy is received at cathode, negative electrode, where electrical signal is passed at anode as electrons. So conversion of photon to electrons are the main mechanism of detectors. Clear, no? Then recorder. What is the role of recorder? It draws electrical signal from the detector and it is converting to the spectrum. Electrical signal into spectrum. You could find here it is converting into spectrum. Spectrum, how it appears? A bell-shaped curve. Taking absorbance in y-axis and wavelength in x-axis. That is the role of recorders. Then spectral study, how the spectrum appears and what are the based on spectrum appearance, what are the two studies we'll be carrying out means qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. In qualitative analysis, we'll be taking wavelength versus absorbance. Wavelength in x-axis, absorbance in y-axis, as already we have discussed, and it is the peak for the sample, whatever, just the sample format I have given. So like this, you will be getting for your sample also the maximum absorbance. The peak maxima represents the maximum absorbance. This 525 nanometer represents for the sample which you have analyzed. And at what 525 nanometer, it gives maximum absorbance, where absorbance of other ranges are low than 525. So this is qualitative respect. When it is compared with the standard absorbance, you could find what kind of sample you have analyzed. So that only it is lambda max is said as qualitative parameter in spectral studies. Next, about quantitative analysis. So once you fix the lambda max as 525, at 525 you can prepare different concentration of the same sample, means increased concentrations, serially increasing concentrations, and you can plot the linear curve. And this linear curve will be showing concentration in x-axis and absorbance in y-axis, and you will be getting the standard curve, okay, calibration curve. Minimum of 5 readings we need to take. Okay, so according to standard guidelines, we need to take from 4 to 6 readings. Optimum of 5 readings we need to take for linear graph plotting. In practicals you will be doing, and that I'll explain during that time. I will explain what is calibration curve, how to plot this. Okay, so here what way we'll be plotting the curve? Concentration, taking concentration in x-axis, absorbance in y-axis. Concentration, different concentration of same sample. So we'll be fixing the lambda max. This qualitative study through scanning, spectrum scan we'll be getting, where quantitative analysis, once the lambda max is fixed, then we can go with the quantitative analysis. So at the fixed nanometer, you are measuring the various concentrations. When the increased concentration you are finding, the hyperchromic shift occurs. That means intensity of sample will be increased. Since the concentration is directly proportional to intensity, that's why you are getting the linear curve. Okay, so this is about quantitative analysis, where absorbance units, the optimum absorbance value will be varying from 0.1 to 0.9 only. Okay, to meet Beer-Lambert's law, quantitative guidelines or quantitative laws, it must be absorbance units varies from 0.1 to 0.9 only. Okay. So with this, I'm stopping today's class. Remaining things we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. Spectral study will be following qualitative and quantitative analysis. Concentration versus absorbance is quantitative parameter, where qualitative is wavelength versus absorbance. Understood, no? Is there any doubt? So instrumental parts we have discussed for UV visible spectroscopy. So in this last 3 classes we were discussing regarding UV visible spectroscopy. We have seen the introduction of spectroscopy, then introduction, principle and instrumentation we have completed. In the next class we will be discussing about applications and titrations, spectrometric titrations. Here we have discussed introduction, principle and instrumentation, classification, source of light, monochromators, types of monochromators, sample cells, kind of samples, then mechanism of sample interaction, then types of chromophores, auxochromes, and types of bands, then solvent effects, shifts, detectors, then recorder, and spectral studies, qualitative and quantitative analysis. So next class, applications and spectrometric titrations will be discussed. All of you stay home and stay safe. For any doubts, you can have discussion now. No response. No doubts, no? So, shall I stop the class? Okay, thank you, Pa. Thank you all. All of you be safe.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Pa.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. On next Friday, we'll be having class test. Once I complete this chapter, you'll be having class test. I'll be uploading questions soon. Okay. The next week, Friday, you'll be having class test on UV visible
Okay,
spectrum.
ma'am.
Okay, Pa. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.